This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
Five-ish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the five-ish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the five-ish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 21 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Supernatural has everything. Life, death, resurrection, redemption, but above all, family. All set to music you can really tap your toe to. It isn't some meandering piece of genre dreck. It's epic. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who has joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And I am Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us. Unfortunately, Brittany is stuck in the sodding vortex. She shall be hopefully joining us next week. I hope her little announcement at the end didn't confuse some people. I realized that when I was editing that she's like from Taos. She's like saying goodbye from Taos from the last time. I was like, I hope people didn't take that as she was saying goodbye for the last time. She was just saying goodbye from Taos for the last time. She's since moved, which is why she's stuck in the sodding vortex. I guess moving is a hassle and a half. So, but Brittany's still with us, just not this week. So, just in case anybody
she
got
will
confused.
be back.
Yes, she will be back. So,
She sends her regards.
Yes. So, but with all of that, we've got some catching up to do with news, and we've got some other fun stuff as well. So let's jump straight into news, starting with Amy Jo Johnson, the original Pink Ranger, has said that she is up for an appearance in the Power Rangers reboot. If you're familiar with the original-ish cast, I would say the original 5, but you really have got like the originals, and then the ones that were in the movie, I kind of consider them the same era of the show.
It's that same
yeah.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Exactly.
There's been so many iterations since then.
Yes. But Amy is when she left the show, which I was really mad the way she left, the way her character left. But that's neither here nor there. She dumped Tommy like a hot potato.
When we do the Power Rangers themed episode, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. That Dear John letter still grates my nerves. Anyway, but she has distanced herself from the entire franchise. She really hasn't wanted anything to do with it, but in the last 20 years, has it really been that long? She's decided that she's decided it's not that bad, and she's actually said that she would be willing to, if she was offered a cameo in the reboot, that she would be more than happy to take it, which is I'm all for. So I fully expect cameos from at least one or two, especially the ones that are really still into it, like Jason David Frank. He's the Colin Baker equivalent of the Power Ranger fandom. He's like carrying the torch.
Yeah, I think even if they didn't officially cast him in a cameo, I think he'd just show up on set anyway, and so they'd have to get him in shot somehow.
Oh yeah, and not just some random person in the background. It'd be like a Stan Lee cameo. You know, it's obvious, even if you don't actually say who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So
you wouldn't even need to.
Exactly.
Speaking of Stan Lee cameos, I just watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2 this weekend, and yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen that one, so I don't know what is a...
Yeah, well, his cameo is at Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy's graduation.
Oh, nice. I love Stan.
He's in the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I saw the clip. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen there's like a super cut of Stan Lee cameos in Marvel movies.
And they keep having to update it.
Yeah, which is a good thing because they keep making Marvel movies.
Exactly.
Anyway, next up in our list, there's been some Once Upon a Time casting for season 4B, and apparently we are getting a plethora of villains next season. In addition to Maleficent being announced, they also have casted Ursula and Cruella de Vil. Starting with Marin Dungy has joined the cast of Once Upon a Time. She is going to be Ursula, who, if you've been following the show, Ursula was featured in an episode last season. She was a mythical sea creature or sea goddess in that story, the one that introduced Ariel to Once Upon a Time, and she was in that story. Regina impersonated Ursula, and then later the real, quote-unquote, real Ursula showed up and was voiced by Yvette Nicole Brown, who I was kind of hoping would come back and play Ursula for this, but unfortunately they couldn't get her. So Merritt Dungy's playing Ursula, and then Victoria Smurfett will be playing Cruella de Vil, and they will be teamed up with Kristen Bauer Van Straten, who has been Maleficent in the show before. I'm not familiar with Marion or Victoria, but it just says here Dungy is best known for her role as Francie Calfo on Alias, she's also been in Castle, Betrayal, and Shameless. That's just what the story says. So after Frozen is over, we're getting villains next half season, so which should be interesting. We'll probably talk more about that at a later episode. So hooray, Once Upon a Time news.
Yeah.
It's good to see it will continue, even though they're killing us with feels all the time. and with these little mini hiatuses, like, why are you taking a week off? Come on. Stop it.
Yeah. The feels just...
Yeah.
They just go on and on and on. They're like the Energizer Buddy.
Until there's resolution, I don't really want to talk about it. I'm still mad about last week. And if you read my blog post, you know why.
Excuse me.
Well, next up, we have a bunch of trailers and teasers for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. The trailer backed up and just dumped.
The trailer.
Yes. Just backed up and...
We have a live-action Cinderella trailer and promotional images. The full-length trailer of Cinderella was released, giving a first glance at Downton Abbey's Lily James as the fairy tale princess. Have courage and be kind is the tagline, uttered by Agent Carter's Haley Atwell, who plays Cinderella's mother in the film. Kate Blanchett takes an evil turn as evil stepmother Lady Tremaine, while Helena Bonham Carter dons a blonde wig to play the fairy godmother. Game of Thrones fans are sure to recognize Richard Madden as the one and only Prince Charming.
Now, I gotta say, reading through this cast list, I recognize all those names, but I only recognized one person when I actually watched the trailer, and that was Helena Bonham Carter.
You can't miss her.
Well,
everybody else, I had no idea that was
distinctive.
Yeah.
That's true. Everybody else, I had no idea that was Haley Atwell. I had no idea that was Kate Blanchett. I didn't even recognize that was Lily James. And I haven't seen much of Game of Thrones, so I wouldn't be able to comment on Richard Madden, but I'm just like, bravo, casting, makeup department, costuming, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And even knowing that's them, I still watch the trailer, I'm like, I don't see it. But maybe I will when I see the movie.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't want to see the actor, you want to see the characters.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Sorry, I interrupted you, Mitch.
Yeah, well, Lily James is also in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I don't know if that's still filming or what, with Matt Smith,
Nice.
who she's currently dating.
And not
You
one of
heard it
the
here,
zombie
folks.
movies, but if Matt Smith's in it, I might give it a go.
Yeah, he's Mr. Collins.
Nice.
Oh. Well, that'll be interesting. Even just knowing the character of Mr. Collins.
Yeah. Next trailer is a preview for this year's Doctor Who Christmas special, in which Santa Claus asks Clara Oswald why she stopped believing in him.
Which I thought was quite interesting. So
Yeah.
especially with the doctor showing up, like she's like, I don't believe in fairy tales. Yet you ran around with a madman in a box all over time and space.
Well, because she said, because you're a fairy tale, I stopped believing in fairy tales. And Sam's like, did you really? As the TARDIS noise sounds.
Santa called Clara out.
Very, very good, Santa.
Took her to the mat.
I'm pretty sure.
Robot of Sherwood?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Santa and the Doctor are going to be paralleled and be synonymous at some point. But that's just a guess. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because back in, The Doctor Dances, like, Rose called the Doctor Father Christmas, and or, he was like Father Christmas, and the Doctor goes, how do you know I'm not? Red bicycle when you were 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it was. So I was like, wait.
In Christmas Carol, he says apparently that they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So
or
I
as
think
I've always known him, Jeff. Right?
Yeah, now that you mention that, that's true.
So I'm thinking the theory from last episode, Santa could be a Time Lord.
Yeah.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Quote our good friend Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever else he got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is the extended trailer for Avengers: Age of Ultron,
Which is pretty much the trailer that we had before, except for the bit at the beginning. Like the first 20-ish seconds is new footage, and they're really playing on the Pinocchio kind of strings on me. Like now they've got this like child or woman with like this real spooky ethereal voice singing it in the background. Some of the lines from the song. It's kind of creepy, actually.
Just kind of reminds me of the trailers before Maleficent came out with Once Upon a Dream.
Yeah.
That was redone by Lana Del Rey, and it was, eerie and spooky and a little creepy.
Yeah.
I can't remember which it was, whether it was Tor.com or IO9, but they were talking about, what is the deal with trailers and having that eerie childhood song being played in the background. But then they're like, well, compared to that big brown sound that they used to do,
yeah,
they probably still do in trailers, maybe the eerie nursery rhyme song or, fairy tale song is actually probably preferable, and it creates the kind of atmosphere and setting that they want to convey with the trailer. So they're like, yeah. So they were just observing that, yeah, that's, and they mentioned Age of Ultron and Maleficent and a couple others that I wasn't familiar with, but those are the two I remember from that article. I can't remember how long ago I saw that, but it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've seen comments of like if we did get a Black Widow movie to have that creepy child song be Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Steal it from Spider-Man. They didn't do it creepily, but I think Green Goblin sang it in one of the Tobey Maguire movies just to kind of be obnoxious.
Well, and in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Electro plays it on these huge, like in the electric power plant.
Oh, yeah, the Teslas.
Yeah, those. He plays it on the Tesla coil during the confrontation with Spider-Man.
Oh.
It has so many applications.
It does.
It does. And then we have a teaser for Jurassic World.
Which my husband has watched at least a half a dozen times in the last couple hours since it came out. It's a good teaser, so I will give him that. So my husband was like, he watched it like a couple of times, and then he really watched it, like he'd let it go for a couple of seconds and he'd pause, and then if it changed the scene, he'd pause it again so he could look at everything.
Well, that a lot of fan sites, whenever a trailer comes out, they like, screen grab everything. They're like, and this is from this part, and this is this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Give it a day. Probably not even a day, and I'm sure they'll find that for Jurassic World. So.
And the teaser for Jurassic World comes with an announcement that the full trailer is expected to air during the NFL football game this Thanksgiving.
Yep. So you don't have to wait long.
Well, I'm sure I'll see it.
Clarify that is American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
As Canadian Thanksgiving was last month.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be American football with American Thanksgiving.
So I'm certain to see it because I will probably be glued to the TV all during watching football, except when we're eating.
Yeah.
My family, we're NFL football people.
Well,
same here.
We'll be doing that.
Yeah. Well, in the NFL schedule is Thanksgiving. It's always the same. It's always the Cowboys and the Lions.
Well, the Lions play the early game.
Yeah.
And they always lose because my dad's been a Detroit Lions fan since he could talk.
Yeah.
And this is tradition. And so we watch the Lions, and then we watch the Cowboys, and we all hate the Cowboys, so we watch them win, and so we're ticked off about that. Then whatever the third game is, we watch because it's football and that's what we're doing, and we all got to see what our fantasy team's doing, which my fantasy team is doing quite bad. I don't know what I did wrong.
At least the Lions and the Packers aren't playing this Thanksgiving because that has been the past couple of years.
Yeah.
That's true. Even the years the Lions were fairly good and fairly decent, they would always play a hard team. It's like, come on, throw us a bone. Like, give us somebody that stinks and let them win for once, please. Just so I don't have to listen to my dad be upset on Thanksgiving.
Yes. Alright. Our next bit of news comes from the Sherlock fandom. Mark Gatiss says to expect tragedy in Sherlock Season 4. In a recent interview with Britain's Radio Times, Sherlock co-creator and the actor behind the detective's enigmatic brother Mycroft, Mark Gatiss teased, "You can always expect tragedy as well as adventure. When the critically acclaimed show returns, could that relate to John Watson's new bride Mary, Amanda Abington, the former assassin who lured John away from 221B Baker Street in Season 3? As Freeman pointed out in a June interview with the UK's Telegraph, while we play fast and loose with the original stories, we generally follow the trajectory of what Conan Doyle did. So Watson gets married, and then Mary dies, so at some point, presumably, she'll die. Still, Gatiss cautioned viewers to remember, just because it's in the stories doesn't mean it'll happen in the series, because there's an awful lot of changes and an awful lot of places to go and things to do. He added, it should be clear by now that while, of course, Doyle is our absolute god, we have gone quite a long way as well, so there are lots of surprises to come. But before Season 4 hits our screens, the standalone special has to deal with a chilling cliffhanger that ended the last run of the episodes, the apparent return of Jim Moriarty, Andrew Scott, who took over Britain's TV sets with an ominous loopy message of, "Did you miss me?" Despite having committed suicide right in front of Sherlock in Season 2, Gatiss told Radio Times that the upcoming special will completely solve the mystery of Moriarty's supposed reappearance, leaving the way clear for a new arc in Season 4. However, Gatiss declined to confirm or deny whether we'll see the iconic villain again after the special, quietly offering, well, it's very hard to put a lid on Andrew Scott.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He's like the master. Films. He dies for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then he comes back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And Gatiss is taking a page out of Moffat's book.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you can only... do I expect anything less from these two? Oh,
no.
Heavens, no.
Par for the course.
Gatiss is the co-creator. We know who the other person in charge is, and well...
Yeah.
No greater trolls in the universe.
Yeah. Now, is the Christmas special this coming Christmas, or is it the Christmas after?
It's next year.
Boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew they had a long wait, and Benedict's and everything else.
Yes.
So
It's
they
always
gotta give him. Oh yeah. So they're doing everything else but Sherlock, but they're still doing Sherlock at some point. So yeah, I think they start filming in January.
That's what they've
Okay.
been saying. So
So we will find out. Watch and listen
Mm-hmm.
for that. And our last bit of news came because I remembered that it was there. Salt Lake Comic-Con Fan Experience has announced a date and guests, and you're going to want to bundle up and shell out pretty quick because the date for the upcoming Fan Experience is January 29th through 31st, 2015. Why did I write 2014? Oh boy. Anyway, so if you remember, some months ago, they were asking for fan input because there were 2 weekends that they could do Fan X, but they were both kind of, one was in January and one was in April. The April date was kind of, it was the same weekend as LDS Conference Weekend, which downtown Salt Lake is a zoo normally, and you put Comic-Con on top of that, yeah, right. Even though that is Easter weekend, and that's kind of what they wanted to make a tradition, but sadly it's not going to happen this year. So instead, they're opting to go with the weekend over the Sundance Film Festival, which kind of makes sense because then they can see if they can peel off some guests from Sundance to come and do a con appearance, which would be okay. The only thing is, this year's FanX will be a lot smaller. They're capping pre-sale tickets at 50,000. And in previous conventions, their attendance is capped over 100,000, well over 100,000, like 120,000, I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think that was what the last Comic-Con was. They will have coat check, and one thing they're going to do is instead of having you buy your ticket and then go to the convention center and get your wristband, they're actually going to mail it to you. So that takes care of that. And then they're also going to have an RFID sensor in your wristband or in your badge so that you can just scan it and go in, so there's not going to be all these long lines, which if they have these long lines in January, there's going to be frostbite. In Salt Lake, yeah, it's going to be cold. But it sounds like, but con organizers, they've said, it's not about the numbers, it's about the quality of a convention that they put together. And they just so they are learning as they go along still. So I'm excited for it. I don't know if I'll get to go this year because it's coming up pretty quick. I'll aim for next September unless they get somebody that I'm like, I have to go see that person. But speaking of guests, they have announced 4 guests at their press conference they had last Thursday or Thursday before. Christopher Lloyd is coming back. As you all know, he was Doc Brown in Back to the Future. So he was at Comic-Con last September. He's coming back for FanX. Tom Felton, who is Draco there, Morena Baccarin from Firefly. And the big one so far, the biggest name, is Carrie Fisher, who we all know as Princess Leia from Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of exciting that they got her, but, they've gotten big names before, so I don't see why I should feel surprised. I'm still kind of in awe that we have this convention local to me. Never thought I'd get one. Anyway, FanX is coming up. If you're in the area and you can go, they are for the month of November. The tickets are half price. You just check their website and see what you can get. And then after December, they're going to go to full price, which is sure to be a lot more expensive, but it's worth it. They put on a good show, and this year, even though it's going to be a lot smaller, it's still going to be, I'm sure it'll be pretty good. So there's that.
Phil, if you have a hankering to go to Salt Lake City, I'd probably book your hotel and airline tickets now.
Yes, do it now. Get it now, because it's less, 2 months away. Yeah. Which I kind of am surprised they got it, but I'm sure they've been working on stuff behind the scenes before this big announcement. Mm-hmm. So, and if you're in town, let me know. We'll go do lunch or something.
I wish I could just to be able to like meet you and spend time with you.
Yeah.
I'd show you the sights. Although I don't know how much fun it would be in January.
Yeah.
True.
Although a lot of people come out of town to go skiing. I'm not a skier, so you could go and I'll be back here.
Skied was for school trips.
Yeah, I did it once, and I really wasn't that impressed. I was like, this is what people shell out hundreds of thousands of dollars to do? Okay, everybody's got their hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done, I used to go on school trips we have a ski hill Chicopee local to me. And so that used to be a pretty regular thing. And I remember one time, like one of my later ones, like mostly singing in the chalet, like not even like the same with like one of the teachers, I think.
Yeah,
so
in the chalet, hot cocoa in a book.
Yeah.
That would be me. I would wait,
towards skiing.
I'd be there, and I'd have the hot chocolate, and I just
also opened up tubing and I think zip lining, like. So they're trying to branch out besides just skiing and snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've been tubing there, which is fun.
Yeah. Snow tubing's not bad. I've done that.
That is fun. I'm not big on the crowds, although I don't know. I've never actually wanted to go to Sundance. I know that's like sacrilege where I'm from, but I don't like to ski anyway, and that's sacrilege, so there. But, if there's, last year, the only time I've ever really been tempted to go, maybe it was the year before, was when Austin Land was at Sundance, and that's a book, Austin Land was originally a book by Shannon Hale, she's a local author. I've met her, she's awesome. And it's if you've never read the book or seen the movie, it's there's like this theme park. I use the term loosely, but because I can't think of anything else to call it. It's like a resort based on Jane Austen's novels, and this woman goes there, like she's single and fed up with her life, so she wants to get away, but she's like totally obsessed with Jane Austen. So her great aunt leaves her. Her great aunt has died, but she leaves her all this money and it's to go to this Austin Land resort. It's called Pembroke Park. And she just immerses herself in the Jane Austen experience, and the movie is hilarious. Like she meets this other lady who in the movie is played, what's her name? Jennifer Coolidge, and she's from Texas, and she's trying to be like all prim and proper, but it's she's totally got the Texas drawl and everything, and it's not like a mean-spirited caricature, but it's still really funny. So anyway, that movie was at Sundance last year, and I was tempted to go up there for it, but I didn't. But they released Austin Land in mainstream theaters anyway, so I was like, oh, okay, I got to see it. But a lot of people go up there because a lot of celebrities come out for Sundance, and it's like this annual celebrity spotting thing. So like if you're going to the restaurants or bars in Park City, you will probably run into somebody famous, or even down here in Salt Lake.
Sounds like TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people. Like Benedict Cumberbatch has been at TIFF.
Oh, yeah.
Sign me up.
So, yeah. So if you...
Sorry, honey.
Like September. So...
Yeah. Well, if you want to go up and brave the cold in Park City, and Park City's up in the higher in the mountains, which is kind of nice because when you're in Salt Lake, we get this yucky inversion. That's like the air looks horrible because the Great Salt Lake. Anyway, you got a geography lesson that you didn't ask for, but happy day.
We get those all the time on Traveling the Vortex.
Yeah.
That's true. We don't tangent near as much as they do. I mean, they talk about rain gutters and lawnmowers and whatever else.
Natural local towns and the streets, and we're like, I've never been to Kansas, but
I don't think I'd get lost.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
We now know what highways not to take, and
yeah, I've never been to Kansas, but I think I could figure it out after listening to the boys.
Yeah.
Traveling Vortex of Doctor Who as we're recording this. It's the 23rd of November, and happy 51st anniversary, Doctor Who!
Woohoo! Confetti!
And if you've been following us on Tumblr, you've seen me reblog all the 51st anniversary posts.
As well we should. And I also posted a link to all my my review things I did last year, Librarian and the TARDIS. I posted those on our Facebook page, and there are just like a bunch of things I did over the course of the 50th anniversary year, and just enjoy just rolling around in my love of Doctor Who. So if you feel so inclined, go take a look at it. And if not, well,
Yep.
that's fine too. Anyway.
Books and Big Finish audios
And stories and surprises, all kinds of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Anyway,
That's it for news. Official news.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chrissy,
So-
you have a
I
review?
do. I have a short little review. I got to see Mockingjay Part 1 on Friday. One of our local credit unions, they run a lot of movie ticket giveaways on Facebook, and I won one, even though I don't bank at that credit union, but I don't care. If they're giving away free stuff, I'm gonna jump in on that. Anyway, I won 2 tickets to go see Mockingjay Friday night, and I'm gonna give a short review of it. No, it's gonna be spoiler free. If you read the book, well, I won't go too much into it, but you probably know what's going on with it. But just overall, well, I will say, let's see, I better go in order here. So they did have a couple trailers. Speaking of trailers, they had The Hobbit, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So the trailer for The Hobbit was there, and also a teaser trailer for Insurgent, which I'm going to say right now, I was not impressed with that trailer, because I do not remember any of this happening in the book. Whether it was a dream, well, I'm sure it was like a dream. I'm sure it's a dream sequence. If
Was
you've seen the trailer,
was it the one with the everything's on fire and she has like swing from the rope and
she has to swing from the rope, and her mom is in this building, and this building is being carried off, and I'm just kind of like, what?
Yeah, that's
I'm
weird.
I'm just like, what the heck is this going on? I don't remember this from the book, so I'm kind of wondering if this is like just some made up dream sequence that they put in the movie, and it's going to be done in the first 2 minutes, and they just did it so they could put it in the trailer and make it like all more splashy than it looks. So I'm kind of like, not impressed. But then again, I was not impressed with the Divergent trailers and their marketing, but when I saw the movie, I was blown away. So maybe don't judge a movie by its trailer. It might be actually kind of good. So anyway, so I did see the Insurgent trailer, not impressed, but whatever. Mockingjay, the movie itself, it's part 1 of a 2-part, and I believe part 2 comes out next November, so we gotta wait a year, I think. So happy day for that. I had an idea of what that is, because I was exactly right, that I knew where it was gonna leave off. And I like what I'm still a little iffy on, from a filmmaking standpoint. Now, I'm not Sean, I don't know, and Glenn, I don't know anything really about movies, other than I know what I like, and I know what I don't like, but I'm not a student of film, so I don't know precisely what makes a good film. I do know what makes a good story, because I read a lot of books, I know what I like, and I know Mockingjay's kind of a controversial book among fans, that there were things that they liked and things they didn't like. I will say to those fans, I don't know how the series could have ended any different and have it be a satisfying conclusion, even though it's very sad what happens.
Yep.
But what I did like about the split is that there were things that I was for sure they were going to cut out of the book that I did not want them to cut out, or from the book for the movie. I knew. Okay, let me start that over. There were things from the book. Okay, yeah, I was like, this. Okay, and there were a lot of scenes that I really wanted to see, and I will say I love Finnick Odair. I don't know why I love him. Him and Annie. I love them. I wanted more of them, even though the story is not about them at all.
And that was the older.
Yeah, that's the guy from District 4 that he's in Catching Fire. He was a victor like 10 years before Katniss and Peeta were, and he was the one that was with them in the with Mags, and he had the trident and everything. And he's played by Sam Claflin. He's kind of got red hair.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was who I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's him. I love the Finnick and Annie story, even though there's not much of it in the book. I've kind of read fan fiction, and there's even a short fan film on YouTube that talks like about how Finnick and Annie met and sort of a thing. So, and it's really well done, and I really like it. It's like everyone's like Team Peeta, Team Gale. I'm like Team Finnick. Not for Katniss. I want more Finnick. Give me more Finnick. And there were some scenes that I was like, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of Finnick in this, and there was a lot more than I thought there was going to be. Not a lot. He doesn't overpower the story. Like, the story is very well done. It does drag in a few places. I can see where the movie-going public would be, that hasn't read the book, would be like, oh, why are they doing this? This is so boring, blah, blah, blah. It did feel like it dragged a little bit. The payoff is really good. I can see where they're going. And it's kind of interesting with this being part one. You have to make it a complete movie, yet you have to set up for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did a really good job with it. They added in some stuff that made a lot of sense for the movie. It would not have made sense for the book, just because of the changes that they've made in previous movies. So there's scenes that, because there's characters that haven't really been in the movies, but they're important in the books. But other characters fill those roles, which is kind of nice. Effie Trinket's in it a lot more. I don't think that spoils anything because she's been in like the promotional stuff, and I guess you can't get rid of Elizabeth Banks, even though Effie wasn't really in the book very much. Jennifer Lawrence kills it every single time. I mean, normally seeing an actress all the time, I would be like, oh, I gotta see her again. Why are they shoving this girl all over the place? No, she is phenomenal in this role, and it fits it. She's perfect. And there's one scene where they do have the hanging tree, which has been on the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack's released, or at least it's been the song's been making the rounds, where she sings the hanging tree, and it is beautiful. It is just, and it's like if you know anything about Appalachian folk music, or even if you don't, I mean, that's just perfect. That's one of the best scenes in the movie. The propo spots that they do show in the movie, I'm like, yay! They let the marketing team get on that. So it kind of feels like you're watching a trailer, but it's not. I'm trying to think what else. Gale has a bigger role to play as he does in the book. So yeah, they follow the book really well. So if you've read the book, you pretty much know what's going to happen. And that's all I can say without being terribly spoilery. But it's a good movie if you've seen them up till now, or even if you just want to go see a good movie, go see it. It's quite good. It's very different from the first two, obviously, because there's no Hunger Games, because they're fighting in a war. And you do see a lot more of the districts, and there's some pretty good stuff there that I'm impressed with the liberties they took with that kind of stuff, and just because we never got to see much outside of what Katniss was seeing as far as the districts go. But when we get to see it on a larger scale, beyond just this one girl who's been through the Hunger Games and basically has PTSD, and
And are the districts kind of like what you imagined in your mind when you were reading, or did they kind of surprise you?
Well, they show several districts. There was one that I kind of thought, how do I say this? There was one district. There's one district I thought was pitch perfect. One, I never had any thought. I'd never given any thought to this district that they showed, and I didn't even realize that was the district they were showing until somebody said, "Oh, this thing happened in district blah blah blah."
Okay.
And but they do show you like there's like a pan shot and they'll show a sign that says district, whatever number it is. And I missed the number in that pan shot, but just seeing what happens after you've seen it, I'll tell you more about it. But it was a really surprising move that I didn't think that they would go there, but I guess I should have thought of that because they did do it in Catching Fire. Yeah, it's just interesting the way they do it. And there's one scene I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil. But it's a district thing. It's like because it shows them rising up against like the peacekeepers and everything, and it's very surprising what they do. It's like I would never
really
thought
want to see this now.
Yeah. Yeah, after you guys have seen it, come back and I'll be like, didn't you see that part and everything and
the thing.
Yeah, that thing. And they do show a lot more of President Snow. Like, you see where he lives. You see some of his family. And there's one scene that's early on, and so I don't feel bad about giving this away, that when he's giving a speech to Pan Am about, we all need to be united because the capital is so wonderful and we've taken care of you and we're all best friends and everything. And if anybody is caught with any symbolism of the Mockingjay, that's treason and everything. And if you remember, he has a granddaughter. Well, you see several of his grandchildren in the shot. Like they're just standing off to the side. They're not in the shot of him giving the speech, but you see them just kind of there. And one of the granddaughters in Catching Fire, she started wearing her hair in a braid because Katniss wore her hair in a braid, and that was like the in thing to do. And so in his speech, he's talking about the Mockingjay symbol, but she takes it as, by wearing my hair like this, I am committing treason. And so she starts surreptitiously taking her hair out of the braid. And it's an interesting moment. So that just kind of, that's like the sort of thing that the sort of feel that this movie is taking. And it's like, I did not expect anything of that nature, and I was just like, I was blown away that they went there with that. That this girl is like, she obviously loves her grandfather because you've seen them before, but she's
that in tune to her grandfather too.
Yeah.
With if he's seeing a symbol of the Mockingjay now, who's to say what else that Katniss symbolizes he's going to consider treasonous?
Yeah, and and then they have the scenes with Caesar Flickerman and Peeta doing the interviews, and and Caesar goes, she was the Capitol's darling, everybody loved her, and all these different things, but now she's this terrible rebel, and So anyway, I better stop there because I'm getting into spoiler territory, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's a good movie. I can't say. This is kind of like, all through Doctor Who, we're like, all through the season, we're like, well, this episode's really good, but I don't know what's going to happen in the end, so I can't say, or, with the 2-part finale, it's like, I can't say if I like it or not, or if it's any good, because I got to see the rest of the story, so we'll see what happens with the rest of Mockingjay Part 2 next year. So anyway, cool. That wasn't as short as I anticipated.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. To this week's main topic, which for once I'm gonna sit back and let other people do the talking, because this week we're going to talk about one of, at least some of us, one of our other fandoms, the TV show Supernatural, which I could count off on one hand. There's 2 brothers, they drive around in an Impala. At some point, there's an angel, and there's creepy stuff that happens. And that's as far as I know. Yeah.
And you'll never think of Carry On My Wayward Son again.
The title of the episode and the quote that Rachel said at the beginning were both my idea, because I'm one of the people on this podcast who watches the show. So, and I wanted to do this because of Supernatural's recent 200th anniversary.
Oh, that was a fantastic episode.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Well, it starts out with there's Supernatural does a then and now thing where they have then and then some clips showing like that are relevant to the episode of like what's happened in the past, and then it gets into the new stuff. But for the 200th anniversary, then was just it was like a computer screen, and they type in pilot like Supernatural pilot created by Eric Kripke, and then it goes, and then that's it for the then portion, and then the now transitions into a high school auditorium where they're rehearsing a play, which is based on Supernatural, which Supernatural is a book series within the show of Supernatural.
Yep.
So
yeah, they like to poke fun at themselves.
The 200th episode was based around a play that is based on the book series within a TV show that the books are based on.
Yeah.
I was working this out in my head after the episode. I was like, okay, so how? Yeah. So
it was by Carver Edlund, right?
Yeah.
And otherwise known as Chuck.
Who is, in fact, God within the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you playing along.
They have angels in this, so
Yeah.
I guess
angels,
that would...
devils, demons.
Yeah.
So Chuck is God.
Fair
And
enough.
Chuck.
He had vanished at the end of season 5, which is addressed in the episode with saying that he stopped writing after the book that the finale was based on, or that the finale was the book, or the other way around, something. I don't know. So the episode starts with these high school girls are rehearsing a scene from the play, and then there's a little bit of a fight, and the drama teacher's like, okay, I'm shutting this down. There's too much drama in the drama department, I'm shutting this play down. So she leaves, and she's going to go to the principal in the morning to get the play, to get them to stop the play. And she's on her phone talking to someone about, and she's basically disparaging Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And then something's
watching her. Something's watching her, and then
yeah, something's watching her from the trees, and then it reaches out with vines and grabs her. And then the Supernatural title sequence has always been really cool, and they've done different title sequences for special episodes. So the title sequence comes up at the title, and it's in these lights, written out in lights. Mm-hmm. And then it backs out, and it's two of the girls from the play, and it's close, but it could be a bit more. And then it goes into all the title sequences.
Yeah, that was something to see.
Which is really cool. Even the Christmas special and the monster movie season 7, Time for a Wedding.
Yeah, I was surprised they tossed those in. I was happy.
That was really cool and really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it opens on Dean is fixing up the Impala, and then Sam comes out of their motel room. So Holly, did you notice that their motel room was number 200?
Yep, I noticed that. I was like, I saw what you did there.
That was that. I like that.
Yeah. Yes, we know it's a 200.
The whole episode was so meta.
It was, yes.
And then Dean says that he's found them a case, which is the disappearance of the teacher from before the titles.
Mm-hmm.
So they go in there, and then they pull up to the school, and Sam's finding out that the teacher who disappeared was the drama teacher.
And
so
Sam's in his
they walk into the school, and just after they walk in, a banner is unrolled for the play, which is a musical. So they don't see the banner, and then they walk into the auditorium, and the first thing they hear is someone say, "Idiots."
Yep.
It's the girl who's playing Bobby. And she's rehearsing how she's going to say... She's rehearsing some, like, her lines, like how she's going to say idiots for the... And then the girl playing cats, like, ass. The look on Sam and Dean's faces, they see all...
priceless.
And Sam says, if there's a case, it probably has something to do with all this.
Yeah. And Dean, I think at this point, is like 100% done. He's just, let's get in the Apollo, let's get out of here. Oh, yeah.
So, for those of us that are completely virgins to Supernatural, maybe we want to rewind a little and explain who some of these people are.
Your history, oh boy.
The only thing I know about Supernatural is what I've seen on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how accurate Tumblr is.
A lot of it's accurate, but there are some, like there's this one just that's actually from an outtake, but it might as well have been from the show.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, the I'm talking about the Chippendale outtake?
I don't know. I might have missed that one.
They come in and they introduce themselves as Chippendale dancers who have just been moved in next door.
Okay, maybe.
What actually happened in the episode is that they come. It's someone's just died, and it died after a memorial, and they're pretending to be junior priests so that they can get in and talk to the family, because they know the family's not going to want to talk to the police or the FBI at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So the outtake, the Chippendale dancers moved in next.
Yeah,
which the costumes are similar except missing the sleeves.
Mm-hmm. And Dean's a big classic rock buff, so every single time that they have an undercover or they're playing FBI agents, they're always, the last name is somebody who is a famous rock musician. I mean, it was like Plant and Page one time, and it's just like, you could tell.
Yeah. So,
there was, let's see, somewhat of family drama. Both have died and come back on numerous occasions. Been possessed by demons.
Being turned into a demon.
Yep, and they really don't like telling each other the truth. They like to keep it hidden and deal with it by themselves when they actually should be talking to each other. And let's face it, some of the angels didn't do them any favors either.
Nope.
I'm looking at you, Zachariah.
Yeah.
You can tell where I am in my rewatch. Season 5. I've been noticing a lot of parallels.
Well, at least you're halfway through it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I started off watching it, and then it was kind of hit and miss, and, and then trying to catch back up. I remember watching most of season 8 7 and 8 pretty much uninterrupted. 9 was hit and miss. So, kind of going back and rewatching has been nice.
Ooh.
And then the
Is there
love-hate
anything
relationship
specific?
with Crowley.
Oh, well, I have a question. Maybe
Mhm.
this is a little academic. So this show's been going on for 10 seasons. This is its 10th season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? I'm just curious. Why, in your guys' opinion, do you think that this show has lasted this long? Because a lot of shows, they get around to like season 7 or 8, and they start running out of ideas, and it gets boring or repetitive, and it's like, okay, this show is time to go. But this one's still going on. It's still got a really big fan base, and it seems like you still have a lot of original ideas. Like what is it about the show that keeps? I mean, I could probably answer this myself, being a genre fan, but what do you guys think? Since you guys have been watching it, like, why do you think it has that appeal still?
The fandom, and I mean I think the writers, and then when Kripke left, I mean, who he had to bring in, or who was there to begin with, and then bumped up. I mean, I know there was some grumbles, and I mean, they don't mind poking fun at themselves and still have fun, and there's good stories to be told, and as long as the actors want to go for it and keep doing it, and I mean, this one survived, the WB to CW, and it's the longest one. I mean, this came out around Buffy and Angel's time, and to have it still be what?
Well, near the end of those, right? Because Buffy was late 90s, early 2000s.
Thousands, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
This was started in 2005.
Okay. Yeah.
I realized when I started my rewatch at season 1. I'm older now than Sam was at the beginning of Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of when Supernatural started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I did watch part of the first episode, but it just didn't grab me. So I was like, well, it's got its audience, and I'm not it. But yeah, I was kind of struck by how young they look, but I had to realize this has been going on for quite a while.
Sam was 22 at the beginning, because the opening scene of the very first episode is when he's 6 months old, and then it flashes to 22 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
he's like 22 in the first season.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then and then there's the undercurrent theme of family.
His birthday is so close to mine. Like, mine's the day after his. And I was born like 18 minutes after midnight, so like another 20 minutes earlier, and I'd have the same birthday as Sam Winchester.
That's always fun
So
when you realize, like, that's my birthday too.
Yeah. Well, the element of family, and I mean, those are the only two. They only have each other, and they each take the role of kind of being the dad since they lost Bobby.
Yeah. Which in the episode 201, which was, what was it called? They actually mentioned Bobby as being their surrogate dad.
Mm-hmm. Well, even Bobby himself, when he had to face down that the demon of his own dad,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, hey, I raised those two boys better than their own father did.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I never watched Buffy, so I don't, like, some of that I'm still not, it's still not, there's no connection there but I know enough about the premise of Buffy is this is this like? Because I thought like the brothers they find the weird stuff or what?
They find the weird stuff. They hunt demons. They have
Demons,
numerous
spirits.
cell phones of Dad.
So it's kind of like Buffy meets like X-Files, or
Kinda, except Buffy dealt more with slaying vampires and then a few demons. But
right?
you're right. You're kind of right with the X-Files type of comparison.
Well, they do impersonate FBI officers an awful lot.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Alrighty then. I when all that stuff was on in the 90s, I was too busy watching Power Rangers, so
Me too.
I think I'm a bit
I was-
young for their core demographic when the show started. So, so
I've
if
been watching Buffy recently, like not recent, but I've been watching it on Netflix.
yeah.
What season are you up to?
5.
Okay. That's right before they make the switch.
So if somebody were to jump into Supernatural, would you suggest they start at the very beginning, or could they skip ahead a little? Because I mean, 10 seasons is a lot. I mean, I jumped into Doctor Who when season 6-ish was on the air. So
Tail end of season 3, starting to season 4.
Well, I think you should probably. Well, I feel like not watching. Well, the first 3 seasons are very important for establishing the relationship between Sam and Dean.
right.
But like there be maybe
at
like
least watch season 3 so you get the whole Dean going to hell narrative that leads into season 4.
Mm-hmm.
would there be like
a
a
lot of, like I know there are people who just jumped in season 4 because of Castiel and the whole angel stuff. But
Yeah.
you should at least watch probably season 3 to get the relationship and the Dean going to hell stuff. So
would there be like maybe like a handful of episodes that you would like a newbie would have to watch? Like I don't know, like I guess I kind of sprung that on you. I probably should have asked you this earlier. But like,
oh boy,
or like what would be a good
Crossroads Blues would probably be a very good one because it sets up the whole Crossroad Demon deal.
Yep.
Narrative that's very important for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the end of season 2 when Sam dies and Dean makes his deal would probably be a good idea.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What else? It's been a while since I've
think.
watched those early seasons.
Yeah.
So, there are probably a few. There might be some in Supernatural in like season 3 that really are important for that whole Dean going to hell narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The one where they introduce Anna Milton, because the whole breaking the 66 seals.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty important. That's important for the whole apocalypse narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, forgive me if there are any Supernatural
It's okay.
listeners who are listening right now. Forgive me if I'm missing out on one that you absolutely think is crucial for a newbie.
Yeah, please send feedback because I'm trying to recommend mine too. But
if I'm missing anything, send in your list of absolutely crucial for a newbie to get caught up if they want to watch.
I'm sure everybody has their favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and with a lot of TV shows where there's a lot of seasons, you'll see these lists of, what are the best ones.
What are the absolute
the ones you
essentials?
the
Well, and
absolutely
the
have to
monster at the end of
watch.
this book would be a good one because that kind of gives you more background on Chuck in the book series.
Oh yeah. Where the monster at the end of this book is where they introduce Chuck, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one's very important because it sets up the whole Supernatural book series within the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that one's very important. Swan Song, which is the series 5 finale, because that's probably the one where they introduce death, like with the 4 horsemen. Those are important. This is all over the place.
Yeah. Well, 10 years, or 10 seasons.
10 years is
that's
a lot.
The show's been on. Obviously, if the show's been on that long, they're doing something right.
Changing channels is probably a big one with because it's the whole accepting the role Destiny's set for you
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know, Holly. You can think of.
Yeah.
You guys can even do a blog post later.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Of your top whatever episodes to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm
Must
still
watch.
needing to do a special feature type thing where I summarize the season.
Yeah. So you try to do that now, we'd be here all week, probably.
Yeah. Well, and I want to rewatch the seasons as I recap them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try and I've finished rewatching season 1, so I'll try and get my season 1 one recorded soon when I'm not busy with school.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. Well, we're starting our final project for the camera theory this week. And
Yeah, I was about to ask because
our TV production lab. So I know all about the shots and how that works. Because basic camera theory is all about the different shots and how the filmmakers try to manipulate the emotions of the viewer and how they're trying to present how they present the story by doing different shots.
Yeah. See, Chrissy, you were saying earlier that you don't know much about cinematography? Resident expert in-house now.
I'm the cinematographer.
I took a beginning to film class when I was a freshman in college. That's all I know. I can tell you what the cactus means in Kramer versus Kramer. and the framing shots in The Graduate, and that's about it.
Well, because I'm all learning high shots are for making the subject of the shot seem small and vulnerable.
Right.
Lesser low shot is making the person in the shot seem more powerful. The canted angle is for making you off kilter, because the shot, the horizon is literally on an angle, so it messes you up.
Yeah.
And makes you feel. So that's the sort of thing I'm learning about, and yeah.
Yeah. You could go work for Supernatural. So Supernatural is on what? What channel is it on? What station is it on?
The
It's on the
CW.
CW.
And what day?
Tuesday nights.
Okay.
Before or after The Flash?
After the Flash.
After, okay.
It's
Well,
The
not that it
Flash
matters to me. I watch it
and
on
Supernatural.
Hulu anyway. But for our
Well,
viewers,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right up against the Agents of
Flash,
S.H.I.E.L.D., so
Flash
it's
is
kind
at
of...
8. Supernatural's at 9.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of us in
That's
that time zone. Yeah, that is up against Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
It is.
So I have to...
everything is on Tuesday.
I know, I need to spread things out a little more.
I know. I got 3 shows on Tuesday now, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I got 3 shows on Tuesday, and we're watching different shows, I think. My 3 shows include Supernatural, and yours don't.
Yeah. I just have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I have The Flash, and I have Person of Interest.
Yeah, I have Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Supernatural.
Channel changer.
We're all over the place.
Yes, we are.
It's NCIS, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash,
Ugh.
Supernatural,
Well,
and Forever. So some of those I have to decide
Oh, wow.
which ones am I going to watch live and then which ones I'm going to catch up on. And I usually catch up on some of those later on, like Wednesday and Thursday when I don't have anything else to watch.
I have Arrow on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot about
I've got-
Arrow. That's a must watch.
Yep, I watched the Arrow. Arrow's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Although I missed, like I had to catch up on the latest Arrow, which it's good
That was
that
a heartbreaker.
Troy wasn't the one
Mm-hmm.
who killed Sarah.
Yeah, I'm still kind of miffed that they killed off Sarah.
Yes.
Because
That was
I
a
am
little
not
too soon.
I am not a fan of Laurel. Like,
Mm-mm.
even from her first season, I know I'm taking us into a tangent, but humor me. Because this has really been bothering me.
I'm
Since it
preaching to the
happened.
choir,
No.
sister.
I know. Well, I need to get it out there. Laurel Lance, from season 1, there was Laurel and Tommy, and I'm like, you guys are about as exciting as cardboard toast. Like, why? Why do we care about these two? I don't. So when Tommy Merlin got killed, I was like, hooray! Half of them are gone. And I liked Sarah. Sarah was cool in season 2, and then they killed her off. And now they're making Laurel. I don't know what they're like. She's gonna be Black Canary, and I'm like, why? Like, what is the point? I don't get it.
And then,
This is stupid.
Valencia.
Well, they are kind of making her a little more interesting. So season 2 did a lot toward redeeming her in my eyes.
Yeah.
Felicity's always been awesome.
Yes.
I just love her. I love her to death. I love her to
And
pieces.
Diggle.
And Diggle.
Well, I don't
And,
like
and,
the
Lila.
Felicity Ray thing.
No,
He literally
yeah.
stalked her. It's like, Felicity, you can do so much better. You should be with Oliver.
Exactly.
Oh, and they know it, but all of the stuff being, I can't be with you and be the Arrow,
Stupid.
you know.
Diggle knows it.
The whole Peter Parker, you'll be in danger. I'm like, she's in danger because she's working with you anyway. Just
And hello, you can protect her.
and she did protect herself in that one episode where she took out the other idiot. What's his name? Her ex-boyfriend that came back.
Mm-hmm. When her mom showed up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when her mom, that was a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, on our Arrow tangent.
I think I'm the only one that doesn't watch Arrow, but that's okay. So.
It's worth it.
It's
They
really
should have killed off Laurel, brought back Sarah, or left Sarah alone. I was like, yay, bring back Sarah, let her be. I mean, it shouldn't have to be in every episode. She doesn't have to be part of Team Arrow, but you can do something with her. Like with the League of Assassins and everything.
Yeah.
There's a story there, and we don't have to just scrap it because Laurel needs.
Speaking of League
Or
of
whatever.
Assassins, does anyone else think of Nissa of Traken whenever
Yes.
Nissa is on?
Nissa, cool. I know. I was like, it's like two pairs.
Yes.
So different. Like,
And like when people talk about her on Tumblr, and they're like talking about like Nissa and her father, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, different Nissa.
Yeah.
Arrow Nissa.
Which series we talking?
Yeah.
The daughter of the demon, or the princess of Traken who does science in her fairy princess outfit. So anyway, well,
the Supernatural.
Yeah.
Supernatural. Sorry for taking us down that path, but
Well, you were just saying that we don't tangent as much as the guys. So.
Well, now we're seeking to change that.
Yeah.
8 Arrows on the same network, so we're good.
That's true. And honestly, I used to think the CW was just, the WB back in the day was just really about overwrought teenage angst all the time. Like you couldn't have a show that wasn't
like
about
Dawson's Creek and
Pretty Little Liars is ABC Family, but that's basically the same thing. Or Gilmore Girls, or what was some of that other crap? I don't remember. But I would watch the kids WB. Because I was in that age group of, I love, watching cartoons. They had Animaniacs, and they had the X-Men Evolutions, and I watched Pokemon. Yes, I watched Pokemon. Shame me, if you will. I don't care. But then I would, see ads for all these other shows, and I'm like, oh.
Gilmore Girls wasn't as bad as Dawson's Creek.
I don't know. It's just,
really good.
It's not my thing. Like the whole talk about our feelings all the time. Not that feelings are a bad thing. I just like that balanced out with some explosions and stuff blowing up. Or, I don't want that to be all of it. So, anyway, but I do like that the CW, I guess now that it's switched over, whatever merger happened to make that a thing, now that they've got, Arrow and Flash and Supernatural, and it's like, man, they're actually doing some pretty interesting characters. So now they found a balance. So I commend them for that, for seeing a problem and fixing it. Or maybe they didn't see a problem, they just wanted to do something different. Either way, they're better for it.
Yeah.
So yay, CW.
I don't think I've ever watched anything that was on the CW.
I just keep thinking of the joke that if you remember Homestar Runner, they had the Teen Girl Squad, their cartoons, and the Teen Girl Squad, the super preppy cheerleader girl, or one of them said they were talking about TV shows, and one of them in a jokey way, if you've seen the cartoons, one of the girls goes, I don't think I can stomach another show not on the WB, like implying that there's a certain type of person that watches the WB, and that's the kind of thing. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, there's some truth to that. I can't remember which episode of Teen Girl Squad that was, but it was. I laughed a lot. That one made me laugh quite a bit. So.
I think that's
Supernatural.
I think that's the most succinct synopsis of a TV series I think we've ever done.
It would have been longer if we let you guys go through all 10 seasons.
Yeah. We don't have that kind of time. Well, some of us may, but
we can get away with shows that are like 2 or 3 seasons long, but with Supernatural, no.
Yeah.
Decades worth of stuff, nope.
Well, we could do a quick, sentence per season. Summary. Like, season 1 was all about finding their dad.
Right.
Season 2 was all about the demon who killed their mom and
Right, yeah.
why he killed their mom, and
Mhm.
plans were like with Sam, because Sam in the first couple seasons has like where he has these like visions of bad stuff that's about to happen.
Yeah.
So season 2 was all about that. Season 3 was all about Dean
Mhm.
going to hell because he made a demon deal at the end of season 2 with a 1-year contract, where most demon deals are 10-year contracts, but because of who he is and what he wanted, he only got a 1-year contract.
Well, he'd almost be out of the 10-year one by now.
He would. He'd be a couple. Well, he'd still be a couple years away from the end of the 10-year one.
True. I'm sorry, I just had to crack that joke.
Because it was at the end of season 2, so if he got the 10-year one, it would be out at the end of season 12. But he only got a 1-year one, so end of season 3, his contract's up. He goes to hell. Season 4 introduces the angels.
Mhm.
Yeah, all that.
Season 5.
5 was the apocalypse. Season 6 was like Sam came back from hell, soulless, because at the end of season 5 they defeat Lucifer by Sam agrees to be Lucifer's vessel, and then there's this whole battle, and Lucifer and Sam and the Archangel Michael, along with Sam and Dean's half-brother Adam, all go into the pit.
Yep.
And Sam is the only one who makes it out, except his soul is still in the pit. And then
Season.
And then there was that whole thing with purgatory.
Yep.
Because Crowley wants the souls in purgatory.
Right.
Season 7 was the Leviathans.
Yep.
Season 8, and then at the end of that, Dean and Cass end up in purgatory with the leader of the Leviathans.
Yep.
Richard Roman. I won't nickname because it's not family friendly. But it is said several times throughout season 7 in relation to this character.
Now I'm curious what it is. I'll have to look it up.
And then season 8, Dean comes back from purgatory.
With Benny.
With Benny, who is a vampire that he's calling purgatory.
Yep, and who'd have thunk? Dean and a vampire. Dean's got some issues with vampires.
Yeah. And then there was the trials to close the gates of hell. That was in the second half of season 8.
I think so.
That sounds about right. And so Sam undergoes these trials to close the gates of hell. First one is to kill a hellhound and bathe in its blood, which hellhounds are what come for people whose contracts are up. So he does that. And then second one is to rescue an innocent soul from hell and deliver it to heaven. He rescues Bobby's soul. And then the third one is to cure a demon. And this is one he gets very close to completing. Like he almost cures Crowley, But then
Mhm.
Dean finds out that if Sam completes the trials, that it's going to kill him. So he stops Sam completing the trials. So Sam doesn't even finish curing Crowley because there's an incantation he has to say after he's completed each trial that seals it, that he's completed the trial.
Mischief
So
managed.
he doesn't cure Crowley, he doesn't say the incantation, so he's safe. But meanwhile, while Sam's been doing the trials to close the gates of hell, Metatron, the scribe of God, has been doing something similar to close the gates of heaven.
Mhm.
And he succeeds, which, three ingredients, the three things for that are Nephilim, which is the offspring of an angel and a human, Cupid's bow, and the grace of a fallen angel, which he uses Cass's grace for, and then then he does that, and all the angels fall. It looks like a massive meteor shower, worldwide. And season 9 is dealing all with the angels being on Earth. And trying to get back into heaven. And this one angel who Gadriel.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, he I forget for whatever, something to do with way back. He was in prison in heaven. So, and he fell too, so he was basically released from prison, and he pretends to be good and possesses Sam and kills Kevin. Help me out here, Holly.
I'm trying to. Season 9 was kind of the hit and miss for me. Because there was still stuff going on with Metatron too, I think.
Well, because Metatron teams up with Gadriel to, because he wants to remake heaven in his own image or something.
Yes.
Basically, he wants to be in charge, so he's he's got a way back into heaven, but he's letting angels in on his own terms.
Right. And Sam and Dean are, wanting to help Cass out, but then, trying to take care of him.
Is opposing Metatron and trying to open heaven the way it was, more or less.
Yeah. And Crowley's kind of sitting back and not sure which side he's gonna
side with.
Well, there's also the stuff with the mark of yeah. So basically, they're going up against Abaddon, who is a knight of hell, and knights of hell can only be killed by the first blade, which is what Cain used to kill Abel way back at the beginning of the Bible. And to use the first blade, you need the mark. So they go searching for it, and you know how Cain was cursed to wander the earth?
Yeah.
Basically, he's still around. That curse is still in effect.
Oh, okay.
So they go see Cain. Crowley and Dean go visit Cain. He's got a farmhouse somewhere, and and it turns out to he hid the first blade, and to use the first blade, you need the Mark of Cain, which is what the Mark God cursed him with when he was cursed to wander the earth. So, Cain transfers the Mark from himself to Dean, and then Dean goes on this path of trying to control the blade and kill Abaddon and stuff. And then there's a final confrontation, with both sides of this, like the angels and the demons. And Gadriel sacrifices himself to stop Metatron, and Metatron kills Dean, and trying to remember.
Well, then doesn't Crowley come? I know towards the end. I know Crowley.
Sam summons Crowley, basically he is making a deal, bring Dean back. So Crowley goes because Sam's taken Dean's body and laid it in the bed, in Dean's bed, in his room. And Crowley goes into Dean's room, and he doesn't bring Dean back because he figures he's got this figured out that it has to do with the Mark and stuff. So he just talks to Dean about what he's figured is going to happen, which is that the Mark is going to bring Dean back to life. And it does. It comes back as a demon. His eyes open and they are pitch black. And that's the cliffhanger at the end of season 9. And then season 10 opens up a little bit later. Dean's gone. He left without telling Sam. And he's been on the road with Crowley, partying and bars, singing karaoke very badly, sleeping around,
hitting the billiard ball, hitting the pool halls, and
all that sort of stuff. And this has been going on for a few weeks, and Crowley's decided, it's time to settle down, start working. Crowley's the king of hell, and Dean is now a demon, so technically Dean works for Crowley. And Crowley's like, let's settle down and get to work. And he's like, no, you said this could go on as long as I wanted, so I'm going to keep going, okay?
Yeah, and Dean doesn't take too well to orders.
Especially Demon Dean, because Human Dean was all about following John's orders. But Demon Dean is I'm gonna do what I want.
So where's the current season? Is there a
well, at the end of episode,
was it 3 or 4?
In episode 3, Sam gets a hold of Dean and begins going through what he knows about curing a demon to cure Dean. And then that's basically the plot of season 3 is Sam curing Dean. At one point, Sam's got Dean all tied up with demon holding stuff. But as he cures Dean, Dean becomes more human and is able to break free and comes after Sam. And then Cass shows and helps Sam recapture Dean, and then they finish and cure Dean, so now he's human again. And then there was the episode where they brought back a werewolf character from an earlier season.
Yep.
And then that was episode 4, and then episode 5 was the 200th episode of Supernatural fanfiction.
And then Crowley does do something nice.
All the meta stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Sorry. But then Crowley does do something nice for Cass, and
Oh, yeah.
with his grace.
Well, he got, at one point in season 9, he steals the grace from another angel.
Mm-hmm.
But that's running out, because it's
Right.
not his, so it's kind of killing him.
Mm-hmm.
So in, was it episode 4?
I think it might have been.
Crowley kills another angel and gives that angel's grace to Cass.
So who knows how long that's going to last, but maybe it'll be a little bit longer.
And it's been revealed that Metatron, who is now in Heaven's prison, there's still a little bit of Cass's grace left, and Metatron knows where it is. And he wants to make a deal, but Cass won't do that. So we're left with what? Like, where's this? Like, so we bought a bit more time with the new stolen grace, but.
Mm-hmm.
And then the latest episode was Dean and Sam get a text on one of Bobby's old phones that this woman Bobby knew has died, and Bobby is one of the beneficiaries of her will, and because Sam and Dean are the closest thing he has to family, so they're going to go in his place. And so they go up, and they show up, and this woman is rich, or rich, and
it basically is kind of like Clue, but not quite.
And yeah, it very much is, and it turns out that this woman had a shape-shifting daughter who's behind the murders in the episode. So and they're having the storyline seems to be that the Mark of Cain stuff isn't done, even though Dean's been cured of being a demon. So if there's a bed where Dean shoots the shapeshifter more times than is strictly necessary. So.
And Sam's even realizing it. It's just like, you're going to tell me if something's bothering you. And Dean's just like, yeah. I think they would have learned by now.
So that's where we are now. Trying to think what the promo for next week was.
I can't remember.
There was I don't remember.
Something.
It's called Girls.
Well, that's interesting.
Sam and Dean encounter a demon who is running from college. Before they can do anything, Rowena intervenes, and Hannah runs into someone from her vessel's past.
Well, there you go.
That's the synopsis I got.
And that's going to involve girls.
All it has is the title.
Okay.
So is it the thing? 'Cause obviously, the thing I read at the beginning, I don't really have any context, but the music bit.
Was from the 200th episode.
Yeah, but like
and it was talking about the play technically.
Yeah.
But I figured it was good to talk. Also, was talking about the series as a whole.
Does music play a big part in the
there's
the series?
Quite a lot of singing.
No.
Mm-hmm.
They released a album of like 3 of the songs that they sang in the episode, which were
there's
the road
there's
so
a lot
far.
There's a lot of like classic rock in there too, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they do sing. They sing a cover of "Carry On, Wayward Son"
by Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. So girls, girls, girls. Like I'm pretty. That's like a Def Leppard song or something.
Well, the way I understand it, it's a bit like Guardians of the Galaxy had the awesome mix. So like those classic songs play a role, play a pretty big role in Supernatural the way they did.
Yeah.
So far, a single man tear and "Carry On, Wayward Son," which the album contained those. It's like Supernatural the musical, music from the 200th episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do love Awesome Mix Volume 1, so
Yeah.
I'm all for the classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
What I was practically raised on.
Yeah.
Same here.
So,
Well,
That's been
that and Supernatural.
yeah.
I may have to give it another try. I watched the first episode and I was a little intimidated by, oh my gosh, how many seasons are there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wasn't. And I will be honest, the fandom kind of scares me a little bit. Not because of anything like bad. It's just sort of, holy cow, they're way intense.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
like
gist
I've seen
for everything.
Well, not just the gift sets and stuff, but I've seen like pages. This is why I see a lot of stuff like people. What is it like people saying things about Demon Dean or Soulless Sam, and they just get so, I guess, upset maybe or really invested in it. And I can understand that because I get invested in my favorite characters on my other fandoms and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like, oh boy, I'm gonna walk away. So I'm gonna hold my hands up and walk away slowly the other way. But I suppose don't judge a show by its fandom.
Yeah.
Especially since I mean, if the 200 episode is called fan fiction, it sounds like it's like a love letter to the fans for getting them to 200 episodes, which I can understand you wanting to do.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, that is nothing to sneeze at, getting to 200 episodes. I think I follow Stephen Amell on Facebook, who's Oliver Queen in Arrow, and he writes. I love what he puts on Facebook and stuff. He's really good fan interaction. And when the 200 episode of Supernatural came out, it was a couple weeks before that. Arrow had their 50th episode, and he actually got on there and said, you know what, yeah. Congratulations to Supernatural. They're going to have their 200th episode. But this is a pretty big week for us. I mean, it's not as big as 200 episodes. Maybe someday we'll get there. I don't know. But he was just, kind of, ginning up enthusiasm for, not in a, marketing calculated way, but just in a very personal, sincere sort of way, which I really appreciate from him. So if you're not following Stephen Amell on Facebook, you really should. Because he's just, even if you're not a fan of Arrow, he's just a cool guy. Really, yeah. Anyway, so he had some very, very nice things to say to the Supernatural crew and people, and just like, congratulations. So I was like, you know what, class act there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I may have to give Supernatural another go when I have a hiatus.
Yeah.
Because I also just started
summer?
Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, next summer
Next
probably.
summer?
Most likely, yes.
Speaking of Sleepy Hollow, how far into Sleepy Hollow are you now?
Okay. I think I just finished episode 3. I'm kind of slow going on it because my computer's been. I'm trying to give it a rest because it's getting old and frail.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to watch it on my phone, but I'm enjoying it so far. I studied American literature in college, and I love American history, and I love all the fantasy elements. And so Sleepy Hollow, I'm like, why didn't I start this earlier? It's like, because you were watching about 10 other things. It's like, that's why.
It's the way it is when you're.
I want to get caught up on like Sleepy Hollow, and there's some other stuff I want to get caught up. I'm like, but I have all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I have Flash and Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You know what?
And the other thing.
It never ends. It never ends. Even when you get out of school. Like, I've been out of school for about 3 years now. There's always something. So you just you gotta pick and choose. Plus, I have all these books. You would, if I were to show you the library books I have sitting here on my floor, you would die. That's not counting all the stuff that I grab that I download on my Nook. Because it's like 99 cents, and like, ooh, I'm getting that, and then I never read it.
Yeah, those of you that have like multi-fandom, like TV show fandoms, where it's like, half a dozen plus, I don't know how y'all do it.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Hiatuses can be your friend, but jumping into a new series may not be smart at the moment.
Yeah.
No.
Especially since I want to start watching Forever, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anyway. All manner of fandom.
Yes.
We cut quite the cross section, don't we?
Yes, we do. At least we can say we'll never get bored.
That's true. And there's always going to be new stuff too.
Exactly.
Well, because we're going to be covering Agent Carter when it starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. We'll get there.
We'll have to do a first half recap of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then we'll have to cover Agent Carter when it starts.
We got to do, and we'll have to do a recap of Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, for first half of the season. So.
And I'm going to try to start. The Librarian series is coming out in December on TNT.
I saw you talking about that on Facebook. On our Facebook chat.
I gotta see if that's gonna be somewhere I can watch it, because that sounds like something I would be very interested in. For obvious
very
reasons.
Good. I wish I had time for it on top of all my other stuff.
Exactly. Darn eating, sleeping, jobs, and education.
Yeah.
And personal hygiene. If we didn't have to deal with those.
Like I said, I can watch stuff on my phone.
Yeah.
That doesn't help all the time.
No.
Anyway, so Supernatural, we're good?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm gonna try and record my season 1 special feature thing soon, which I've got clever titles for those.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Stay
I got
tuned for
clever titles
those.
for the whole series, and then for each individual season based on the plot.
Nice.
Cool.
Stay tuned to the YouTube channel and our blog for
Yeah,
that.
like the overall, I've got spirits, creatures, and demons. Season 1 is Things That Go Bump in the Night. Season 2 is Blood of the Demon. Season 3, Hellhounds and Demon Deals. Season 4, Angels and Broken Seals. Season 5 is the GD Apocalypse. GD stands for
Something.
something.
Something that is definitely not
Season
PG.
6 is The Soulless Hunter. And then season 7, The Rise of D, which is for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Richard Drummond's nickname.
Got it.
Season 8 is Hellish Trials. Season 9 is Fallen Angels. So,
Intriguing.
yeah.
So look forward to that.
Look
Definitely.
forward to those.
Yeah.
Soon-ish.
Yes.
They're coming. They're
It
coming
might
to
not
a.
be till I'm done school for the semester. So, mid-December, maybe. But,
Hey, you know what? We need something to look forward to.
Exactly.
hopefully sooner, but if not, probably around mid to late December.
Okay. Coming to a 5-ish Fangirls podcast.blogspot.com near you.
Exactly.
See how I did that?
Nice segue there. Of course, that's where you can find anything and everything related to this show, past shows, news, special features, side trips, all the fun stuff we've done. I finally put up some pictures from my cruise up on the blog. So I know I said I was going to do that when I did my recap weeks ago, but
And here we are.
here we are.
Weeks
So
ago.
some pictures are finally up. Hopefully if you're someplace warm, or if you're not, if you are someplace warm, it'll make you happy. If you're someplace cold, it won't make you too unhappy.
And looking out my window right now, winter is here.
Yeah.
Well, winter was here, but it seems to have retreated somewhat here.
For a hot second, and it'll come back.
It called ahead to say it was on its way.
Those of us in this time zone have had a roller
In
coaster.
this part, in Eastern time, it came. We got like 3 or 4 inches of snow, something like that.
Yeah.
But it seems to have melted for the most part over the weekend.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
It's actually been very nice this weekend.
It was nice here
Very
yesterday.
good, much closer to what it should be this time of year.
Yeah.
There was an article in the local paper about how winter came in early like a rude dinner guest, and talking about how
That's accurate.
yeah, a little bit of snow at the beginning of December, and then kind of more as the month goes on, and then the kind of weather we got last week is typically what we get in like January, February.
Yeah.
That's what they've been saying around here, because it was like super, super cold last week, and then it rained all day yesterday pretty much, and then it finally snowed. Usually we get like one great big storm in December, and that, you know, causes all manner of havoc and mayhem. And then January and February, it just sort of sprinkles on us and keeps us in the snow, but not too bad, usually.
Well, we usually try and take our trampoline down before the snow, but this year there was snow piling up on the trampoline.
Oh, no,
So
not
hopefully, like it's all the snow from on the trampoline has melted. So hopefully it will
good.
dry out and we can take it down
Before you get some more.
comes back.
Yeah, hurry up and get that done.
Yeah.
All right, then. So, anyway, send us all feedback.
Yes.
Ways you can do that is at our website, and check out all of our good stuff. Follow us on Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter and YouTube, obviously, because that's where you get the podcast. We're still working on that iTunes thing, but
Well, we need more supporters on Patreon for that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
We
Patreon.
have a grand total of one supporter who has pledged a grand total of $1 a month.
Which is
That's not
fine.
enough to get on Libsyn or any of those
Yeah.
podcasts.
We'll get there.
Not that we're complaining. We do appreciate the support, but you know, if you
We do appreciate that support.
if you
We're
know,
saying we'd like a little more from some other people.
yeah. But you know, if all you can support is $1 a month, you can do that. You can do as little as $1 a month. So.
And we're very appreciative of it. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
You're all wonderful.
But send in feedback. Send in your list of definitive episodes, supernatural episodes that a newbie should watch to get caught up.
Yes.
Or anything else you want to talk to us about.
Yes.
Yes.
We as it has been established this episode, we cover a pretty broad range of fandoms.
Yes, we do. Even if you want to argue with me about how Laurel and Tommy were actually kind of interesting to you in the first episode or first season of Arrow, I will gladly take that, and I will gladly say you're wrong, but you're entitled to your wrong opinion. So send in arguments if you feel so inclined.
Yeah.
And I will graciously disagree.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm getting punchy.
You'll debate their opinions in a calm and mature manner.
Calm, maybe. Mature, oh, hell no.
So there's your warning.
Just try to be mature, sure.
I will try, but no guarantees that it won't devolve into a raspberry fight.
I'm getting visions of Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. Duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit
Duck
season.
season, rabbit season. This is I may be almost 30 years old, but mentally I'm 10 sometimes.
And that's why you're our friend.
This is why I get along with these ladies.
Mhm.
They understand me.
Exactly.
We're all mentally about 10.
Anyway, I've derailed us enough tonight, so
Yeah.
we better get off. We better get going.
Yeah.
This has been our Supernatural episode. Send in feedback on whatever you want.
Just talk to us.
Talk to us, please!
We know you're out there.
Is anyone alive out there?
Yeah.
Hello.
I gave a business card to someone at school this past week. We got talking about Doctor Who. It was not this past Friday, but the Friday before.
Yeah.
He saw my Doctor Who sweatshirt, and we got talking about Doctor Who, and I gave him a business card.
Nice.
So, hi.
Welcome.
Hello, new listener that Mitch gave a business card to. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope we haven't scared you off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so should we call it good?
I think we can call it good.
Okay.
I don't know what we're talking about next week. There may not, because of Thanksgiving, we may hold off, because I know myself, I'm going to be traveling for Thanksgiving, so
I will be traveling as well.
So don't hold us to having an episode next week.
Don't count on
for
anything.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a holiday for 4 of us.
Like, I
And if you
that's my Supernatural special feature, but don't even hold me to that.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
I have school.
But for all who are celebrate safely. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and for all those who are not celebrating, just have a good week, and we'll see you again next time
Exactly.
whenever we're back.
Yeah.
So signing off. This is Chrissy from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin, wishing everyone a good evening.
Mitch from Kitchener, Ontario, saying good night.
This is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good night, everyone, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.